Switching over.
We are live.
Here we go. All right, yeah. Well, this is Average Rants here on KNMC 90.1 FM. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
So, community calendar, it's been snowing and it's now raining. So there's no such thing as a break from anything in Montana.
It's winter. There's a chance of winter every day of the year around here.
I guarantee you that the Haverhill County Library will be doing story time.
You want to do the kill counting?
I choked a little bit. So yeah, they will be doing their story time at 10:15 a.m. on Monday. There's also a fitness swim and aqua exercises and a lap swim. And for times, just get a hold of the Haver Community Pool. That way I don't have to say all the random
There's a lot of
words.
times. Yeah. Probably check their Facebook page.
Oh, Little Rockies Barrel Racing Association. It's barrel racing. Did you know
Take
that?
a horse and run around the barrel.
Oh,
You don't
I
rodeo?
so just pictured somebody going in a barrel and a buddy pushing them down a hill.
Well, that's what we would do in high school, but no, barrel racing is where you take, you get on a horse and you run one end of the arena around a barrel. I think you run around 4. I'm not a barrel racing aficionado, 3 or 4 barrels. And you can't touch the barrels though.
That's going to be happening Tuesday, May 25th at 6 p.m. at Blaine County Fairgrounds in Chinook. So check it out if you like the barrel racing, not the kind that I thought it was.
Although that would be fun to watch as well. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like there'd be a lot more forms to sign for throwing yourself down the hill of the barrel.
Yeah, that probably would hurt a bit.
Shows you how uncultured I am when it comes to Montana.
You guys have rodeo in Canada.
Not in Ontario. You have it in Calgary and so like Alberta and Saskatchewan and stuff. But there ain't no rodeo where I'm from. There's hockey.
There
a
is
lot of hockey all year round.
Speaking of hockey,
Toronto won last night.
Stanley Cup playoffs, baby.
Yeah. Toronto won last night.
Yeah, the Wild did not.
Did they play last night too?
No, they didn't. They lost 4-1 or 4-0. So no, they didn't play.
Oh.
They didn't play. Marc-Andre Fleury got shut out.
Damn, he's a good goalie. That's what happens when you're Canadian.
He's 36 years old, man.
I'm going to
he's
be 37 and playing.
And he's 30. And you ain't playing against no NHLers either. Pitching shutouts in the Stanley Cup Finals. But that is the theme today for the music. We went in honor of I went because I choose the music, but I chose sports anthems today. So if you go to a live sporting event, odds are you've heard one of, all of, or at least some of the songs we're going to play today.
Should be good. I was writing a couple of them out there, getting them ready. And
well, the NBA playoffs are going off now too. I know you don't care about that. But
the what now?
NBA playoffs, yeah.
Oh, are the Raptors going to win again?
Probably not. I don't think they're even in it.
That's the only team I know.
Right. So what are we kicking off with?
I'm just getting it ready.
Getting it ready. So who do you think? Okay, you can't pick your own team. Okay.
Can't pick my own. Well, that's not
Can't
fair.
pick your own team. Who has the best odds?
But I can't pick my own team.
No, because that's a cop out.
It's not a cop-out. It's just they have the best odds.
No, they don't.
I
I can think of 2 teams that play in the same division that actually have better odds to win the cup than you do.
2 teams in the same division.
Yep.
You're going to say Edmonton and Winnipeg?
Nope.
Montreal's not going to go anywhere.
Not in that division. I said 2 teams that are in the same, not in that division. They
you
play
mean
against
East
each
or
other.
West?
Yeah. Believe it or not, the Avalanche have the best odds to win, and the Knights are the second best.
I thought last time I checked, the Lightning had a 6-1 chance to win.
Well, if they play like they did this weekend, everybody better be quaking in their boots because Jesus, they like
What was it? 6-2?
Oh, it was so bad that the Panthers had to resort to injuring.
Yeah, they injured like 3 people.
Purposely. Like one dude just ran over to a guy and just clocked him with a stick.
Mm-hmm.
Just right in the back of the knee.
Yeah, the guy had the most points in the game.
Well, it was Kucherov, right? And he hasn't played a game all season until the playoffs started. That was his first game, 4 points. Next game, 2 points. Yesterday's game, 4 points. He has 8 points in 3 games.
Yeah, he's a good player. I like that guy. Too bad he's playing for a bad team.
They're the same colors, Toronto.
There's something.
I couldn't tell you. I'm not a big basketball guy. I don't know who the odds-on favorite are to win the NBA championship. But they had a bit of a different format this year, so we'll see how it goes. I've been listening a little bit on ESPN, but not too much.
I thought while you were talking about it, I tried to find it.
Yeah.
What the odds are.
The odds-on favorites are?
Yeah.
Looks like the Brooklyn Nets are the odds-on favorite.
Yeah. I've never even heard of that team. I've heard of the Lakers, the Jazz, the Bucks, Suns. I only know the Suns due to the fact of that Will Ferrell movie where he makes like a team and they're trying to get in the NBA.
I can't tell you how much I can't stand that guy.
I know. That's the only reason why I know that one.
Is you like Will Ferrell.
Yeah, he's good. It's funny.
So, but there's hockey on today. Oh, and I don't know if you know, you play golf, but you don't watch golf. But the Players' Championship was today.
Why were we in it?
Well, for very good reason. It's the biggest, one of the biggest golf tournaments of the year.
You know, I was looking at some of the scores of like the PGA Tour, and our numbers aren't that far off from the worst player.
Right.
So why can't we get it?
Because they're playing on PGA Tour courses and we're not.
Yeah, but I mean, PGA Tour courses are going to be a little bit more pristine than what we play.
They also play a little more difficult. Their hole placements are difficult and stuff like that too.
We just go by luck.
What you need to do is get yourself to where you can caddy for one of these guys. Caddy takes home 10% of the winnings.
Yeah, because I know for a fact that a guy with no knowledge of golf and just plays it for
Just
fun.
got to carry the bag and hand him a stick.
Yeah, but they also do the
So
wind
they do
speed.
They do a whole lot of stuff.
And they're like, oh, the grass has been a little bit wet. They washed it. They washed it. They watered it. Like
They washed
3
it.
days ago.
There's a guy out there with a sponge and some soap, and they're just scrubbing the grass down. No. Yeah, they have to take into account wind change, humidity, and all this stuff.
I wish I was so good at golf that wind speed and humidity affected me.
Yeah, whatever we play, we're like, hey, the wind's whatever. Just
Yeah, we're like the wind's blowing.
it doesn't matter. I slice anyway.
I'm just gonna hit it and hope that the wind doesn't mess it up, or it might make it better.
That is true. So there's a little bit of sports for you guys today, in honor of our playlist. There's probably some. I know for a fact there's baseball. They play 162 games a year.
I don't think they get time off, do they?
Yeah.
What, for like a week?
They play. I think the season goes from April till November. I think is the World Series. It ends in like the beginning of November, early October, late October, early November. I post. No one wants to talk to us.
That's all right.
I
We don't
would
have a
talk.
huge following yet.
We have one follower, which is one more than we had yesterday.
That's amazing.
Right? So we've doubled. No, is double? That's not double. That's
No, we've gained one.
we've gained one.
There is no multiple of 0 because it would be 0.
0, right?
Yeah.
So how do we? Tomorrow we're gonna double, right?
We're gonna have 2 tomorrow. If we get 2, Derek will sing a song.
I will not sing a song. But when we get a little further along and we run a real contest, I may consider something like that. But I don't know why anybody want to torture themselves that way and hear me sing.
Most people like that kind of stuff just because they like the fact of somebody.
It's like a pie in the face thing, right?
Yeah, they just want to see somebody embarrass themselves. But you might start singing, and then the next thing you know, they're like, "Oh boy, that was worse than we
That
thought."
must be how Macy Gray got famous.
Well, we could try to auto-tune it.
Oh, I think autotune would give up. This guy is too monotone. I can't fix it.
Well, should we get some of this music going?
Let's get some rolling, yeah. What do we got?
Yeah. Rock and Roll Part 2.
Everybody knows this song. They just may not know the name. Oh, so for those of you listening on YouTube, we have a couple of interesting topics we're going to get to today.
Pornhub gains more followers during COVID.
You think? I don't think that's news, though. A little bit of vaccine news that I found kind of interesting.
I found out that I missed my vaccine days.
I know you did, because you're like, because I told you yesterday, I'm like, man, I got to go in on Monday and get my second shot. That way I'll be thinking, you're like,
Well, it was supposed to be here.
isn't it supposed to be 4 weeks? I'm like, yeah, that'll be 4 weeks for me.
Yeah, it was supposed to be here in this building, but we never got a reminder or a notification thing, email sent out.
I think they'll still give it to you, though, if you go
Well,
and get
they
it,
told me at the thing that if I miss it, I just have to get a hold of the hospital and tell them I need my second dose.
Right.
Because it's all free, so.
Yeah.
It's just going to suck because last time something weird happened.
What?
I've never been afraid of needles. I've never minded getting a needle. And for some reason, when I was getting that first COVID shot, I felt woozy looking at that damn needle.
Huh. I've always, like, people are like, oh, you've got tattoos, you shouldn't be afraid of needles. I'm like, let's be very clear here. Tattoo needles are very different from the ones that they stab you with to give you a vaccination.
Tattoo just kind of felt like somebody was scratching my arm a little bit.
Yeah, they can be painful depending where you get them. I got one on my chest up around the collarbone area, really hurt. And then when you get down towards the nipple, that one,
Well,
that's a little
I've got
sensitive.
circles.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to make my nipples look like owls. Because I was afraid if I was like in the woods that I'd need something to make me look like a bigger animal.
Woo. Oh, we got 2 followers now. We've doubled
We've done
since
it.
we started. So that's going to end Average Rants forever. We are done now.
We've reached our lifetime goal.
We appreciate everyone who follows and listens, whether locally on the radio or live on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are very lonely. I think our 2 followers live in Canada and not allowed to visit our house. So they don't really have much else to do.
I'm going to guess that Sammy probably did one.
No.
I
Oh,
can't
yeah,
read
it
that
is.
from here.
I can't read it from here.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I don't envy Canada right now, unfortunately, being stuck.
Well, I was told
At home.
that they are going to start letting people gather outside again,
Oh, nice.
at least in Ontario.
Very nice. So we've got a little bit of a topic on that. We've got some news. I've got some pretty fun nerd news.
I like nerd news.
I like nerd news too. Pump up the jams.
Yeah, jump around. is
Jump
on.
around, yeah. Well, yeah, I got a little nerd news. We'll wait for
Oh, for when we come back on.
for the nerd news. But other than that, not a whole lot going on with me, other than my.
When are we finishing your bathroom then?
Well, I don't know. But I got step 1 taken care of. Ripped out all of the old part of the bathroom that we don't want. Which was easy enough, but it's still a bit of a. Like I said, they didn't use like plastic surround. It was like half-inch thick, like I don't know what
Tile of some kind?
Some kind. Yeah, it was just a big sheet of tile or something like that.
That's weird. Well, we'll make it look all fancy schmancy.
Yeah, the wife was already like, so when you start the next one, the other bathroom. You're already into that one. Why don't you start tearing this one apart? I'm like, huh?
That's what I mean. Like if we, the time it takes for each layer
Right.
of the tile that we got to go up, because we're probably going to be at the start. We'll probably do like 2 or 3 rows depending on how well it's holding.
Well, it's
Yeah.
subway tile, so it's fairly tall tile, so it ain't gonna take very long.
Right, but like what I did was I did 2 rows, then I started doing 3 and then 4 because it was all getting solid. But like I said, if you were doing your floor, you could literally do 2 rows and then do a bit of the floor.
Don't you do the floor first anyway?
I would do that first because you can't walk on it.
Oh,
So you do a little portion of it, right? And then that hardens, and then you do another portion. And then eventually you could just keep jumping over that little spot. Are we rocking?
I feel so 90s doing that, you know? You're just like,
And everyone's just seeing us bob our head.
yeah, to jump around.
Yeah. It's jump around.
You guys know jump around. Everybody knows jump around.
Jump up, and get down.
Yeah.
Ah! That was my favorite part. Because at every dance that came on, I'd be like, ah!
Well, it's on like every sporting event, you know, during a timeout or like half times and stuff.
So we finished the Mighty Ducks last night, too.
Oh, how was that for you? We
The
haven't finished the Ducks yet. I think
last
we got
episodes that it was on was weird.
We haven't done the one the most recent one. We haven't seen.
So you didn't see the one when they're at state?
No.
Yeah, we just watched that one last night.
No. So it's fun. It's been hit or miss with me. Did you see the? Oh, what was it that I told you that there one spot where you're just like, okay, that was a little much. Oh, the Michigan. I pulled out the Michigan.
Yes, they pulled it to Michigan, and the whole time I was like, even if he didn't, he would have scored. The goalie wasn't even on that post.
Right.
He could have just done a wraparound.
Yeah. So
They should, they really need people to act that better.
We're live again.
If we were watching it,
oh, not yet.
I would have 100% said, put the goalie up against and get it in the top there.
Right.
All right, here we go. All right, that was some jump around. Hopefully everyone stayed on their seats.
It's not. Well, it's kind of miserable outside, so I mean, you have to do something. But like I said, there's hockey on today, basketball on today. Thank goodness too, because it's just crappy outside.
Yeah, I
But
don't know
at least
what.
it's not snowing.
Well, because Amanda, your wife there, was supposed to do branding the other day, and
If you're supposed to go branding this weekend, and that didn't happen.
it's too much snow.
Well, it's just muddy. I mean, it just wouldn't work. So, but as I said, we have some interesting topics today. Let's start out with a little bit of news.
Okay.
For you nerds out there, Barry and I, you hear us talk about sports, hockey, and all that, but we are also something very weird. We like nerdy stuff too.
Doesn't make me a nerd.
No, it doesn't make you a nerd. You're still a jock?
Yeah.
Did you stuff yourself in a locker in high school?
I did. Because then I
Me
would
too.
avoid the other jocks.
Right? We like nerd stuff too, but we played sports. It was so weird. But we grew up reading fantasy novels, and for those of you familiar with R.A. Salvatore, they are going to put one of his series.
That's the thing you sent me about Dritz.
Yeah. Well, that's the rumor that it's going to be about Drizzt. And if they're going to pick a character from anything R.A. Salvatore,
Yeah, but that would be the only choice.
well, there's another one, but he's a little less known, but he's a lot of fun too.
Which
But-
one's that?
You could do the Cleric Quintet,
No, that's not as fun.
but they end up meeting each other anyway in the Drizzt novels. But he's also a fun character.
No, Dritz is just amazing.
All I'm saying is that they've got a lot of material to go through, and here's my problem. It's not really a problem, but my expectations are
Oh yeah,
because I've read the very first set of books, and then RA went back like 10 years later and was like, well, we need to know where he came from. So he wrote the 3 books before.
Yeah.
And I stopped reading Drizzt novels a long time ago. And apparently there's like another 9 or 10 out that I haven't read. But I've read like 10 or 12 of the novels. So they've got a lot of stuff to go through. And I'm like, you can't screw this up because I'll know.
Yeah, well, the thing that I hate is they did it with The Witcher. So they made that series.
I haven't seen the second season yet. But
And I
don't think it's out.
didn't mind it, but as
it was hard to follow.
a fan of the game and the books, because I read the books, it didn't make any sense to me. It was like you had to basically forget everything you knew about it
Well,
and make it make sense again.
from what I watched, I watched the whole first season. The thing is, it was hard to follow because they kept time hopping, but they wouldn't tell you they were time jumping. So
Yeah.
you had to know that they were flashing back or jumping forward or flashing back. But otherwise, you're like, none of this makes sense.
Yeah, I really felt like they should have.
It was
Well, the whole thing is about a guy right? That hunts monsters. It's
He's a
basically, he's a
monster
monster
hunter.
hunter. He's killed like 2 in that series, and that doesn't make like the whole thing should be more around the realm of that, and then his interactions with the others in
Right.
that process. But they've tried to turn it into a freaking
I bought the original game on a whim because the cover looked cool.
Yeah.
And then I saw the opening cinematic for that thing, and I'm like, that is amazing. And I started to play through it. I didn't get very far because the controls were just
Yeah, it was really good.
wonky. It was just wonky as hell.
Well, that was like, what, 2002 or something?
Yeah, it was a while back. And then The Witcher 2 came out. Fixed the controllers and all that stuff. And I'm like, this is amazing. Love that game. I played my way through it. The storyline's a lot of fun. And then 3, everybody loves 3. I have yet to finish 3. I just don't have time anymore.
I beat it twice.
Yeah, well, see, some of us are employed.
Yeah, you know. How it is. I went through
But,
once only using like
I'm just glad, back on the topic at hand, that we're getting away. Everybody's like Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. You know, there's so much better fantasy out there.
Yes.
That's good stuff to cut your teeth on, but let's face it, it's not that great.
And because I'm being told basically to say it, my wife introduced me to those books,
To which books?
the Witcher ones.
Ooh, the Witcher books, yeah.
She introduced me to a fair bit of books. Not Dritz, though.
I don't get a chance to read a bunch anymore, but thanks to technology, I can still buy the books and listen to them, which I do a lot of work. So,
I've never tried the audiobook.
some are really great. Like it's a series I'm listening to now. It's actually a kids series, but it's really good. It's let me pull it up here.
The Berenstein Bears?
It's the Berenstein Bear.
Audiobook?
Like, yeah.
3 little bears, one with a light. One with a stick, one with a rope.
The Craig Halloran Legend of the Craig Halloran has a pretty good series out there. It's about, just kind of a quick synopsis. It's about a dragon who's born a man. He has to earn his scales. He's the prince of all dragons. It's for kids, but the guy who narrates the story and reads the story, he does the voices for all the different characters. It's just fun. And he's got music playing in the background, so there's dwarves, and when their dwarves are partying and having fun, there's this happy tuba music for the dwarves, because you could just picture.
Yes.
It's just a lot of fun. So
Nice.
I don't care if it's for middle school kids. If it's fun to listen to and it has a good story, I'll listen.
Well, I mean, I still have that free trial for Audible. Maybe I'll.
If you sign up for Audible for like $8 a month, you get the one free book every month. So like you got a month, listen to the book, any book you want. What's the worst that happens?
That's what the trial does.
And they have a whole bunch of free stuff. So
Free's always good.
so if you finish
That's why I
your
like
book,
free trials, especially when you can abuse them.
Sammy, what's your
email again?
So, but there's a little bit of nerd news, so hopefully. And who do you think they would pick to play Dritz if they got a Dritz?
Probably someone I wouldn't think of, and would be mad until I see it acted.
Right.
But it would be a hard thing to do, especially.
He's got to be small in stature, but
And they
bigger than life on screen.
They can't change. They can't change it, right? Like that's what I'm worried about. I would much rather see every book, kind of like what they did with Lord of the Rings, where they had to change some things for the cinematic, which I understand, but they tried to keep it as close as they could to the story.
The Hobbit, they butchered that one.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But I knew
bad.
with Lord of the Rings, they took out some characters that were fun and whatnot.
The issue with The Hobbit is they took a single book, which is like 200, it's less than 300 pages, and they crammed it into 9 hours of movie, into 3 different movies. There is so much in them movies that not even in the books. And then they took the stuff that's in the books, some of the stuff that's in the books, and left it out. Some of the better stuff.
Like I would, if they took like each book and just summed up each book in a movie, going through, I would watch that. But if they go
It's
through
a TV series, so I mean, it can go forever.
Yeah.
And if Amazon or Netflix or whoever picks it up, like, we already know that Amazon put $500,000 or $500 million, I'm sorry, into season 1 of the prequel to the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Well, and I poor pity whoever takes it up and butchers it, because I will discontinue my services.
Yeah, you have like there, but the thing is, I think if you get these actors that started acting and did this as kids, like Joe Manganiello and Sean Astin, and a lot of these guys, they cut their teeth playing role-playing games as kids. These are the actors that you'd be like, hey, we want you to be a part of this movie.
Yeah, they definitely need somebody that they need people that know it.
That's either affiliated with this or played the game or anything. Like people look at Vin Diesel and be like, man, he's one of the biggest action stars ever. Loves to play Dungeons and Dragons. Vince Vaughn. Just tell your wife sent us that picture of Joe Manganiello and his gaming group in LA. The Big Show?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on. Could you imagine playing D&D next to a 500-pound wrestler? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, when I played D&D, I was the only athletic person in the group, and they all thought that I would hurt them. So that's probably what he felt like.
I feel terrible that people felt so that they couldn't like sports and athletics and that stuff at the same time.
It's the norm that people are afraid of.
I think it's not the norm anymore, though, and I think we're breaking down that barrier.
It's the like when I was a kid, I just did what I wanted. So luckily enough, I had a personality that I could fit in with wherever I went. But I remember sitting on a bus and people would be making fun of the choir or people that are in vocal music or in band, and I'd be like, yeah, you guys know you're making fun of some of my friends, right?
Well, think about it. I mean, Dwayne Johnson, one of the biggest action stars forever. He's a giant nerd.
Mm-hmm.
He loves Elvis. Like, loves Elvis. He sings, he acts, he dances, he does everything. Now, who's going to tell him not to do that stuff? Honestly.
Well, it is weird too, though, because I remember thinking, like, when I would be on like a trip for my my media class,
mm-hmm.
And we were there, and it's full of people that were in vocal music band. They'd be making fun of jocks. So it was like, the weird thing is people sit there and I know that it can be different depending on where you are, but it is funny that jocks will make fun of people in like a nerdy role, but the people in the nerdy roles will make fun of the jocks. So they're both the exact same, just on different
Well, it's
sides.
funny because the jocks are like, hey, you dress up like your favorite D&D character, and then that guy, the nerd's like, hey, you dress up like your favorite football player. What's the difference? Yeah. I mean, seriously.
I don't know if I ever went back to like high school and could not be 37. Well, almost 37. Because that'd be weird if I was 37 and walking around like a wizard or something.
Yeah.
But I would love to go back to when I was in high school again and come dressed like some crazy character.
Well, like I play D&D. We play our weekly game, bi-weekly game, whatever. I don't LARP. Right, I'm not going to go out.
I have LARPed.
You have LARPed. I have not, and this is a personal choice for me. I have not, but to those who do, great. If you have hobbies and you love to do them, why make fun of somebody's hobby?
We're going to do an hour session of D&D, and I'll run it, but you're only allowed to talk as your character for that hour.
Oh, whew. I can do it.
I'd like to try that. I'd like to see how that goes.
So, but there's
that's how we'll break the ice with you.
Yeah. Oh, on LARPing?
Yeah.
That's not LARPing. That's just.
That's the step. That's the step,
oh.
Right? So, because then you have to be your character at all times. You can't be like pause.
So you're basically, and we're jumping into acting here, is to where you're just improv.
Yeah. No, that's I did LARP because I was told by my drama teacher that
it is probably one of the easiest ways to start improv.
Yeah, it was the best way to get used to acting and thinking on your feet. So, and that's why I'm so annoying.
Yeah, my wife.
I always have something to say.
Yeah, my wife will definitely attest to that.
Oh yeah, I can't think of how many times I say something and then I'm like, oh man, why did I say that?
Foot right in the mouth. Where's my filter? Oh,
I don't have one.
I was born without one.
Yeah.
Whoa! That's never happened before. Do you dare answer that?
I'm good at answering.
So we're gonna do this live. He's gonna answer the phone and see what happens.
KMC 9.1. How can I help you?
You're talking too much. You guys need to play more music. What? I don't know what we're doing. He's smiling. Someone's talking. We got our first caller.
Thanks. So you like all that kind of stuff?
This is amazing. We have our first caller. Now, if I could just get someone to say something in the chat.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
That's pretty awesome to hear. All right, sounds good.
We have a like today. That's awesome.
Rock on, man.
Sweet.
Thanks for listening.
We have our first caller. Where's our caller from?
Huh?
Where was our caller from?
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's probably from in down here. But he was telling me about how he's got like Loki tattooed on him, and he's a basement dweller.
Nice. Get out of the basement.
So he's just he's letting us know that he's an older gentleman and he's still rocking it.
There you go. You are who you are, man.
That's pretty cool. I didn't even know this phone worked.
Apparently it does.
That scared me. If I would have known how to do it, I got to figure out how to use the telephone on
We
it.
will have to talk to our.
Well, I think you just use this thing. Put that on.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. So we'll get back to some tunes celebrating, playoff week, I guess.
All right, here we go. We got some Ozzy for the basement dwellers,
The
right?
basement dweller. Hey, even basement dwellers like Ozzy.
That's right.
Wow, our first
That means
caller.
somebody's listening.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. So, will you get messages from your wife? It can't be anyone else as long as
No.
likes you.
Guildies.
Oh, are they listening too?
They listen, yeah. They listen online.
So, but no, I'm really hoping that that series takes off. I hope it's good. But you didn't answer. Who do you think would take that role?
I don't know actors that well. It would have to be, because it's got to be someone that's not too tall. It's got to be, I would say they can't look intimidating, but can pull it off.
Like, I always thought Jet Li, but Jet Li's too old right now. Who's an up-and-coming martial arts
Tony
star?
Jaa.
Tony Jaa.
And he's getting up there,
Who was
too.
that guy who did the Monster Hunter movie? Is that
That's
Tony
Tony
Jaa?
Jaa.
Yeah, I think he would be a pretty good fit for that part. The thing is like the one issue D&D has had over the years is it's extremely racist at its core.
Yes.
It always has been.
Well, I mean, that's what I liked about Dritz, though, so much was,
They broke down barriers.
oh, yeah, it depicted the culture of black and white.
Right.
In a fantasy story, and I thought it nailed it perfectly.
So how do you take Tony Jaa and turn him black?
I think what they just do CGI.
Right.
That's the only way. Because
you can't paint his face.
No, they wouldn't do that. I don't think they'd want to do that. Or they can always just use lighting.
And the one thing you can't screw up with that character is the lavender eyes. And
Well, he has to have purple, right? Like purple eyes.
very lavender, yeah.
And he has to have white hair.
And a 600-pound cat that follows him around, which is just.
I would be okay if they depicted it randomly because it is an artifact, right? Like
Well, yeah, she comes and goes.
Yeah, so it's like as long as he's holding on that.
Your mic's away. You're not talking into your mic. Oh, we're not
We're on the
that.
radio.
I don't. Well, I'm confused. But what the way I would do this series, and this is just me, start out a couple books in from the original trilogy, not the 1, 2, 3 later. It's weird. They did like the Star Wars thing. We're gonna start out with book 4, book 5, and 6. Start out somewhere in there, and then you can flash back to how he. I don't know. Did you ever watch Arrow?
Yeah.
Arrow did that.
Oh yeah. Where
How did the Green Arrow become Green Arrow? And for 5 seasons, they kept flashing back.
For instances that made sense to what he was remembering.
Yeah, so like how he became who he was and what made him this character. I think that would be a great. You find the writers who did that show and go, we need you to do this, but you have to read this set of novels, and this is only half of them.
Yeah, this is the first 4.
And make this work.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're going to get Renoir. No. I'm screwing up. Wrong series. Brunner Battlehammer. You got to get Caddy Bree, Wolfgar. All of these are great characters in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
And then, can you imagine seeing Dritz on screen with Artemis?
That would be pretty cool,
right?
I'd also like to see how they depict his weapons too, though.
Well, that's easy enough with CGI. I mean, if you get someone like Amazon or Netflix who can just throw a bunch of money at
are
you.
they just going to do the flashy stuff, or are they going to make it?
Well, you got to remember, Dritz didn't have.
No, he got icing death.
Icing Death
And Twinkle.
Yeah, but he didn't get those right away.
No.
He got Twinkle first. He got Twinkle first in Sojourn, where he meets the warrior, which is one of my favorite books. Actually, it was that 3rd book in the 2nd series, where he fights the monk who's blind.
Oh yeah.
That was one of my favorites. And that's where he gets Twinkle from, because his drow weapons just fail in the sunlight. And then he gets Icing Death when he's with Wolfgar and they kill a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to ruin spoilers, but if you haven't read the series by now, you're about 30 years late, because that came out in like 1994.
Yeah, spoilers. Spoiler alert. After the fact.
My bad to our 3 listeners.
I can't believe that somebody called in.
That is mind blowing to us. So what are we going to talk about now?
I don't know. Now I've got those expectations.
We've nerded out a bit.
Where's Sun Thunderstruck?
Oh, you're gonna like that one.
That was just so cool. He seemed so excited that we were talking about this kind of stuff.
We talk about anything and everything.
Yeah.
You guys throw in the chat. You guys want us to talk about something? You throw it in the chat. We'll talk about it, as long as it's appropriate. Ish. No topic is too. Well,
now we could talk about every topic. We could find some way.
We can rant about anything, like fashion. Like, we don't do a lot of I mean, I dig your shirt, but it's got a dragon on it. It's got a dragon on it, right? Mine.
I wear it because it makes me look bigger than I am.
I wear this shirt because my wife got it for free. I think we got it for something. I don't know what it is.
A man swap.
Huh?
Where you go to like the clothes, but it's for men.
No, this isn't
a clothing man swap.
We've discussed man swap.
That's why I was trying to spark the fire again.
Because didn't we talk about this when I first got this shirt? I'm like, the only way we would man swap is if I got it, and I'm like, hey, I don't like this shirt. It's never been worn. There you go. Right? That's how guys man swap.
I felt like that call was going to be an ad or something. That's what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. We've noticed that your warranty is expired on your car. Really? What's the best superpower? Oh, that's your wife.
Well, should we do that on air, or
we can do that on air. How long has the song got left?
we got 2 minutes?
2 minutes to think about it. So we'll put you on hold there, Samantha. I can't. What's your wife's last name?
Her last name is Brownlee.
I know, but it doesn't say Brownlee.
Balimba.
Balimba. Oh, is that her maiden name?
Yes.
Sammy, you need to update your YouTube.
She goes by her maiden name on YouTube because she has a channel that she puts work stuff on. So we made the arrangement. It makes it easier because her degrees are all in
her maiden name.
I'm just happy that she
said yes.
Yeah, that's it.
We're in the same boat, dude.
Yeah.
I was really nervous up to that point when I signed that piece of paper. You're like, when you say yes, it doesn't matter. You have to sign that piece of paper.
I had to ask her twice Because the first time she said yes, but you're gonna have to ask me again later and make it better.
Wow.
Because I got nervous and I started stumbling over my words, and she was like, "What are you trying to ask me?" I was like, "Well, like we talked about doing the thing where we're together," and she's like, "What?"
So for once in your life, you didn't know what to say.
I didn't know what to say, but I was hoping that I could just go a roundabout way without saying it, because then I didn't want to get.
You just hit a couple of holes in a tree on the way in.
Yeah. I was afraid of the no.
Well, I mean, what is the worst that they could say is no?
They say no, and then it gets so embarrassing that you're no longer together. That's the worst. That's why guys are afraid of it.
So what's our superpower? How did we manage to?
How did we manage to do it?
Yeah.
Because we're nerds that were jocks. So we fit into both worlds.
Charisma.
Mm-hmm. Charisma 20.
Nice.
We ain't got nothing else.
Oh, we'd be in so much trouble without those two. Oy. We'd be broke and playing golf all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we wouldn't be playing golf because I'm pretty sure our wives paid for our golf passes.
My charisma paid for it.
So thank you.
Yeah,
We love you.
appreciate it. Hey, we both redid a bath. Well, you're redoing one,
Right.
And I already redid one.
Right.
So we have that too.
Oh, you're coming in on the end here.
There we go.
So.
All right, and that was Thunderstruck. ECDC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were given a. I had mentioned that we could pretty much rant about any topic, and somebody gave us a challenge here live on YouTube. What is the best superpower?
Like, what is the best superpower for me, or what is the best just in general?
Well, let's start with you for first. What
Best one for I always, and I loved it, was speed. Like, just to be like the Flash.
Is that because the Flash with speed, they theorized that because he can go so fast, he can actually alter time?
Well, and in comics, he did. Like, he would run so fast, he'd rip a portal in time and be able to go back.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't that. It was just I don't know how many times I'd be sitting there being like, I have 5 minutes to get to work. Crap.
Do you know where you live?
Boom. No, I mean, like, I'm just saying in general.
Like we don't have that problem here. Like, I got a minute and a half to be. I'll be early.
Or you could be like my wife and I, where it's like, oh, we have 30 minutes ago we were supposed to.
We said ish.
Ish. That's why I always put ish
So.
at the end.
For me, strength was always a fun one because there was never anything in your way.
Good. I thought you were going to say something like invisibility, and I was going to call
No,
it
it's just creeper.
Yeah, that's
Like you can't. It's great until you know everybody would abuse that superpower,
You're like, I saw your pin. What was that?
and you have to run around naked the whole time. Like, can you do that here? Like, it just wouldn't work.
No, yeah, I like super strength and stuff like that, but for me, like, super speed was always the go-to, because you could win so many things with that.
Right.
Like, because even like you think strength, like, how hard is a punch that's like 500 miles an hour?
Probably the same power as the Hulk hitting you.
Right? So that's what I always.
But would it shatter your hand too?
Oh no, because your body should be able to handle the speed it's going at.
You would think, right?
A shuttle doesn't fall apart as it's flying through the atmosphere.
A what does?
A shuttle?
Well, it can.
Or a plane, like an airplane's flying really quick and it's not falling apart because its structure was
they're
designed.
built for that, yeah. So what you're saying is that Barry, the Flash, when he got electrocuted and chemically changed at the same time, it changed his bone density?
Yeah. Well, remember it was I never actually really knew, because I don't know DC as much as Marvel.
Right.
But in the TV show they made it like it was like a radiation lightning thing that hit him.
So
Right?
yeah,
I don't know if that's what happened in the comic. I know he got hit by lightning in the comics too.
He was
while
hit
in a
by-
lab.
he was hit by lightning in a lab while playing with a bunch of different chemicals, like a chemistry set.
So I mean, yeah, technically it could change.
But he was also, I think he was also supercharged. Like, I think the series on CW, which is a really cool series if you get a chance to watch it, there was a particle accelerator
Yes,
blew up too.
That's what it was.
So that being struck by lightning hit with a particle accelerator and all that. So
Well, because I mean, like, this is a different show, but I watch an anime that's called My Hero Academia.
Mhm.
And it's about a world where 10% of the population don't have a superpower.
Ooh.
So you're weird if you don't have one. And each one has different ones, but the heroes all have unique, like ones that are pretty cool.
Right.
And the main character is super strong. But because he's not physically fit enough, if he uses too much of it, he breaks his own bones.
Right. That makes sense. So that was your biggest superpower. What do you think the most powerful superpower is?
Most powerful. Invulnerability?
Invulnerability, but is anybody ever truly invulnerable?
But that's what I mean. If you were 100% invulnerable,
But what are you talking, like physically or emotionally?
well, oh my God. Physically.
Because look at it this way. You could say, but for some reason kryptonite grows on trees, even though it's the rarest element in the universe. That Superman you can't hurt him, but somehow.
Well, magic can hurt him, and for some reason, well, he's just magic can actually hurt him.
Who has magic in the DC world?
There's a bunch of them. I just don't know all the names because I don't follow DC.
But he's considered invulnerable, right? You can
Yeah.
shoot him and bullets bounce off him. How his uniform doesn't tear, I don't know. But
I'm thinking.
how does he shave?
With his fingernails, because he's strong enough to hurt himself.
Oh,
That's
is
why. Well, because you look at his comics, he's invulnerable, especially on Earth because of the yellow sun.
he is Earth radiation makes me.
Right, but when Doomsday shows up, Doomsday can, well, in one of the comics, he kills him, and he doesn't use kryptonite or anything. He's just so
We ignore the crappy movie that they made.
right. Well, even in the comics, he did.
Yeah.
He beat the living poop out of him.
So you'd say invulnerable. I'm like telepathy.
Yeah, that would be.
Because if you can mess with people's minds,
Well, like Professor X can like make people forget that he was there.
just literally, he just stops everything. Like that in itself is crazy.
I think for me, I just don't like affecting people's choices. It would be hard.
But it also makes it one of the more powerful.
I think you become evil with it, though.
Well, let's face it. There's a reason. What's funny is that we've talked about this before. Like superheroes, it's always the heroes that are pure of heart that get superpowers. Because if you just gave the average person superpowers, they're gonna cause all kinds of problems.
I would not abuse it.
You wouldn't.
No, I would just be the fastest person alive that wins every competition.
I'm gonna go just fast enough to win.
No, I would make so they'd be like, he's clearly got a superpower. I'm like, there's no rule against it.
Because like super villains, for the most part, aren't really that super.
No.
Like there are like Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four. He's kind of a BA, right? He's got
But
superpowers.
if you really look at it, like, if we go with standard comics, no supervillain really did anything that is really that bad. Because it's more along the lines of, I'm going to hold this city hostage, but never
who do you
blow it
think?
up.
Who do you think is the most powerful supervillain? Like take a Lex Luthor. Like you could say his superpower was his intelligence.
Lobo.
Lobo.
That's DC. You know who Lobo is?
I do not. I'm not.
He is the guy that rides around space on his motorcycle and comes and he's a bounty hunter and he beats the living poop out of Superman every time he comes into town.
What like Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider's pretty cool. It's just he's a little too violent for me. You know, he's got flight in the head and stuff.
Very terrible one if you watch the original movie.
Well, with
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage, yeah.
They-
It wasn't.
They could have
it wasn't-
animated
yeah.
that and it would have looked better.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Though.
But then they brought in Sam Elliott and the movie quality went way up.
Yeah.
Like you're like, Well, they bring out the big guns. No wonder why they didn't have a budget. They had to pay Sam Elliott for 15 minutes of screen time. So, yeah.
I don't know why. Who do you think for the baddest villain?
The baddest villain. Well, I don't know. I would have to say it would have to be Lex Luthor because he literally has zero powers and he brought Superman to his knees.
Oh, he's
more
like,
than once.
He's like Batman.
Like Batman, yeah. What's your superpower? I'm rich. Like it was the cheesiest line of that whole movie. Where you're like, it works, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you give him all the toys. He's like they're Marvel and DC, and we're leaving out a bunch of them, but of other comic places. But they have their opposites. Like there's Batman, and then there's Iron Man. They're the same guy.
Iron Man's cooler.
Well, yeah, because he built himself a suit, but so did Batman eventually to beat Superman because
Yeah.
he knew he couldn't do it on his own.
Because Iron Man did.
Yeah.
Let's not be around the bush. DC and Marvel mirror each other
Oh, they
in
have to.
ways that they.
I just wish I was into comic books when I was younger because I didn't start to get into it. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't get into comics until the movie started coming out.
Oh.
You know,
I still have my Wolverine collection.
I watched the X-Men cartoon as a kid. Loved it. I love by far and away the best series Batman series is the Batman the animated series.
Oh yeah.
They came out in the 90s.
I did like.
Which let's face it, that Luke Skywalker was playing the Joker.
Yeah.
Like that's awesome, right?
Well, did you ever watch Batman Beyond?
Yep.
I thought the first season of that was actually pretty fun to watch. That was a cool take on a futuristic.
Right. But I didn't get into like real big into any comics, and a lot of people don't realize what is a comic. Like things, like they're like, "Oh, it's a great movie." Well, it was a comic. Well,
It's in that section of the newspaper.
Right. What section? Oh yeah, that comics. So, you know, there's a soft spot for me. It's like, and I've heard. I had a great respect for the director of Avatar. I can't remember his name because he did Terminator and Terminator 2. I can't. But he said that the comic book movies are going to die. And James Cameron, he's like, comic books movies are going to die. They're not going to make any more money. Well, I hate to break it to you, but the last Avengers movies made over $1 billion.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think what it is, it's so weird, is like the thing, like we were talking about already, the thing that we kind of hid from everybody, so like our nerdiness and all that, that is now becoming the cool thing.
Right.
And I love it because now I get to like rock my, like I bought a Venom sweater because
Right.
I'm not afraid to, as a 37-year-old.
I wear my Captain America shirt. I have a pun. Oh, my favorite, and he's not even super, but my favorite superhero, and he's not a superhero actually. He's kind of an anti-hero. Is the Punisher.
Yeah.
He's been getting a bad rap lately because people are taking his symbol and using it very wrong.
Yes.
Very, very wrong. We won't talk about that much here, but if for those of you following the news, you already know about it. But he is by far and away one of my favorite, and Netflix did the best version of him you will ever see.
Yeah.
John Bernthal nailed that part.
Yeah, that was the series.
I loved the Daredevil series they did too. I thought that was great. I was really disappointed when they said that they weren't going to do them anymore. I was like, oh, those are great characters.
Yeah.
And they're dark. In fact, Deborah Ann Wall, who plays in the Daredevil series, is a huge Dungeons and Dragons player.
Okay, let's just.
She gets
everybody.
Everybody is. She got everybody on set.
And I would almost challenge. I bet you anybody that is like, no, Dungeons and Dragons is stupid. I bet you they just haven't played it.
They haven't.
And, or they had somebody that was like, oh yeah, let's play Dungeons and Dragons, but didn't know how to do it and made it really poor.
Right.
Like I mean, we have pretty good laughs with it with ours, and it depends on how you do it. Ours is a little bit more.
It's laid back.
Yeah,
Pretty laid back.
but then I've been in groups that took it very seriously.
That can make it not fun.
To the point that somebody threatened to gouge my eyes out with a spoon just because I wanted to date the party member that put on the girdle of femininity.
Mm.
And they're like, but I was like, well, they changed it to a female and they're extremely attractive, right? And they're like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm down.
That's something that I am really happy to see that D&D's breaking down those barriers, the LGBTQ barriers. Like, they're just crushing them.
Yeah.
Like, why people care in the first place to me is beyond me. Like, why do you care who somebody's dating?
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't affect me, I don't care.
No, why should you?
I mean,
You're like if you're let's say you have a friend who came up to you and he's like, hey, this is my boyfriend, and you're like, hey, dude, what's up? Whatever.
I when I was working in Vancouver, worked with a lot of gay gentlemen, and I had one of them, and he was a really nice guy, but he went right up to me and he said, why don't you ever come out drinking with us afterwards? And I was like, well, I got to get home. I got to work in the morning. He's like, oh, well, next time you should come drinking with us, and I promise I'll take advantage of you. And I was like, what? He's like, well, I'm just letting you know right now that I will take advantage of you if you let me when you're drunk. I was like, well, I mean, not drinking with you. He's like, okay, but if you ever change your mind.
But then there's those people that are LGBT and you don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't act like people. Like they get this weird stereotype out there that a gay guy has to be more feminine and he's more feminine. That's not true.
Oh man, I've met some.
Like, so I've seen some super tough dudes out there, and you're like,
well, I might be wrong, but is it Vin Diesel? No. I thought there was one buff.
There was. I don't think so. He's not. He's married. There was a lot of rumors going around that he was, but it's not true.
I'm gonna find it. I just thought that there was like a big buff guy. I wish The Rock was, because then my wife would stop talking. Now she'd still keep talking.
Right? My wife's that way with Joe Manganiello. Can't blame her. I mean, Jesus. But yeah. But
I guarantee you they're not gentle.
they don't have our personality.
Oh, damn right they don't. They think they're stronger than everybody, because they are.
You better do the community calendar and give somebody some. So we'll hit the community calendar and a couple of.
All right, so yeah, you're listening to Average Rants here at KNMC 90.1 FM. Still need to. I got to work on a jingle this week. It's not going to do anything.
Especially since school went out.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we've got like story time happening at the library.
The Hill County
Library. I was trying to find it again. And that's happening at 10:15. Always happening at 10:15. It seems like it's Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm going to guess, because it doesn't go on to Friday here. And I mean, we've got barrel racing happening at the Blaine County Fairgrounds in Chinook, and that is on Tuesday, May 25th at 6:30 p.m. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, go check it out. It looks like they're flushing some of the hydrant mains.
Yeah.
And they'll be doing that on Tuesday as well. So if you can, from between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m., from Main to 4th Street and 9th Avenue to 24th Avenue, try not to use your washing machine as much. That's what they're asking for. So just try to run cold water. Try not to use too much water when they're draining the hydrants.
Right. We're going to get all that old. They might be trying to clean up the system.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. Get some clean water going through there more. Yeah, I think that's good.
There you go.
I never know how much I have to say.
Well, good news is we have more tunes lined up for them.
Yeah, let's start this top of the hour here at 4 with some Sandstorm.
You don't know what it is until you hear it.
That's right.
Oh, that's that song. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, here's a question for you. And
24.
24.
I always just
What's a comic that you would like to see them do a series or a movie on that they haven't?
Dreads, dude. Comic or They did Spawn.
They should redo Spawn.
They should redo Spawn.
Let's face it, John Leguizamo as the like as much as I like John Leguizamo, the Violator's a chick.
I don't know. They've done like everyone that I liked now.
Really?
Like Wolverine was my hero when I was a kid.
You gotta admit that Wolverine Origins was just a terrible movie.
The one with Daredevil in it
Whoa.
was the worst one.
The one with Daredevil in it.
Where they not Daredevil, Deadpool.
Deadpool, where they sewed Ryan Reynolds' mouth shut.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Where he's standing in the bathroom looking at his claws, and the CG is so bad the claws aren't moving, but his hand is.
Yeah.
Almost as bad as Superman's mustache. Had to reshoot that movie. You guys, you get millions of dollars in budget, and you can't figure that out.
I probably could have done a better CGI job.
Oy.
I would have done it for cheap on a Wolverine movie just to have my name in the credits.
Yeah. But I mean, what I would like to see DC stop making Batman and stop doing Superman. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of getting old.
But there's so many other characters to draw from. We don't need to know Batman's origin story. We know his parents died. He's sad-faced.
Well, I've been liking Marvel doing. I've been liking the newer Spider-Mans. I thought they finally found an actual kid that could do Spider-Man.
He's so English, it's funny.
And I know because he's really good.
He's really good at it.
Because he plays
Is that a metal art? That is so cool. But he's really awkward as it. Yeah.
He's like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, or like in the Avengers one when he's like, I'm sorry to fight you guys, but Iron Man told me.
When he's on his phone doing I'm fighting with the Avengers right now. Yeah, that's great. Marvel has done a fantastic job. DC is hit and miss. I really liked Aquaman. I thought they did a pretty good job with Aquaman.
Yeah, so Aquaman was good.
It was a lot of fun. Batman versus Superman.
It was horrible.
It was terrible. And then they did the extended cut, which didn't make it any better for me. The movie was too long as it was. I don't know. That movie just bothers me. Justice League is okay. It was kind of clunky. I think they just thought that they needed to answer Marvel. Like, Marvel's got the Avengers. We need to do this. Like you said, they have to mirror.
Yeah, but I think they rushed it.
They did. Wonder Woman, the original Wonder Woman, fantastic.
Because I did not see the Wonder Twins at all. And they were in the original Justice League.
Right. Lantern.
Will Wonder Twin powers activate?
Lantern. Now, how's that going to work? Are they going to get Ryan Reynolds to play Lantern and Deadpool?
Oh, no, he'll never play Lantern again.
Like, he was so upset about that.
He shot himself
Yeah.
in Deadpool.
I can't wait to see that show up on Disney Plus. Like, how are you guys going to justify having Deadpool on Disney Plus?
Well, they're going to do what they did with the other stuff. So like older shows now, if you go and try to watch them, they have a disclaimer at the start.
Yeah. So and it's going to happen. They need to do a decent Green Lantern movie though, because he's a big part of the DC universe.
Well, they should use the because they have the one where he's the black version.
Right.
And I like those comics way better than. I thought that they added a different take on it.
Right. But like I said, Wonder Woman is by far and away Marvel or DC's best job at a comic book character. They did great. Wonder Woman 2 was okay. It was fun. It was watchable. It was way better than Batman versus Superman. God, what character from DC do they need to do that they haven't done? Like Batman, they have Batman and Superman, and then they beat those two characters to death.
I don't know. I feel like
because everybody knows Marvel characters now because they've been around so long. Like Aquaman's got his sequel coming out. But let's face it.
Oh, yeah, they did Shazam. I thought Shazam was pretty good.
That was fun. They're working on the sequel. Honestly, though, Christopher Nolan's Batmans are probably the best Batman movies. But I'm not a fan of. I didn't really care for Christian Bale's Batman because for some reason he's got lockjaw whenever he talks.
Yes.
But they did the best. The best villain I've seen is Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
By far and away. That was just great.
And that was song 2 by Blur.
Blur. It
It's
went by in a
actually
blur.
called Song 2.
Those 2 songs went by in a blur. They weren't very long.
No, those were pretty short ones.
But we could switch topics now. We've been talking a little nerdy lately. But
All right, well, I just want to remind everyone, too, that we have been using Facebook, and the Average Rants is up on Facebook. Just look up Average Rants. And we keep a live stream here in the radio booth here. And we talk about things that kind of the same stuff we've been talking about, but we can get into a little bit more adult-oriented talk.
right,
Due to the fact that we don't have the same
restrictions.
restrictions. So we do use big boy voices a little bit more often when songs are playing. So if you want to see who we are, you can always just check out the Facebook page, and it'll take you to YouTube where we've got our live stream going every time we're here.
Right, and we were just talking about a little more depth into what characters we'd like to see movies made of, and we have someone here commented in the YouTube chat. They would like to see more movies from the perspective of the villain. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Like they tried to with the Joker movie, but I think, like I said, DC is just not good at it.
Well, with that one, I think they tried to make like an origin and tried to humanize him.
Stop trying to humanize an inhuman character. Like the Joker is the Joker because he has no remorse, he has no feeling. Like I said, the best storyline, the reason everybody liked the Joker in Nolan's movie is because was all the questions. Who is he? Where did he come from? We don't know, but he just keeps blowing stuff up.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, basically, it would be kind of fun to see, like just because we're talking about the Joker, to like see the setup for all these evil things, why they want to do them. Then they start doing them, and then it's like Batman comes, and from his perspective, he's like, "Dang it!" And then to see how they act after they've because they usually get away a couple times. They
kind of have DC did kind of do this with, and they're doing more movies with it, but they do have the Suicide Squad, which are all villains.
Yes.
The original Suicide Squad movie, if you can watch it for free, watch it. You're not gonna go like, wow,
well,
that was
they got
great.
The Birds of Prey.
I've seen that also. It's pretty
kind
good.
of like a second one, but it's more of a girls
Right.
only one.
But these are villains, and they have the new Suicide Squad movie coming out, and they have Killer Shark, who's voiced by Sylvester Stallone, which is okay. That's cool. I gotta watch it now. I gotta see how Sly Stallone sounds talking as a shark, like right.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool.
And Stallone is one of those few guys that is making the jump into DC and Marvel. He's also in Marvel. He's a part of the Marvel universe.
Oh yeah, he's one of the captains in the
Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, he's one of the leaders of the Ravagers. So,
man, I heard that is it Dax?
Drax
isn't gonna do that part anymore because he has to play with the shirt off.
Yeah, there's some talk about that he may not play that character anymore. We'll have to see how that goes because, like,
well, I mean, he's like 50.
But he's still huge.
I know, but like, I don't know why he's afraid. Like, I walk around with my shirt off all the time.
Yeah,
but nobody wants to see it.
No, we don't. But like, how do you replace that character? Like these guys, like everybody in the Marvel universe is so set in stone at this point. You can't change out their characters.
Yeah, it'd be really hard because he's one of my favorite.
He was so like in the second one, like where they meet Mantis and she starts reading his mind and his feelings. It was just so great because he doesn't get sarcasm. He takes everything. Do me. Yeah. He didn't care. Yeah. It was just so much fun.
I just I always thought his character was a good laugh.
You're hideous, but I like you anyway. You're the most disgusting creature I've ever seen. It is just so much fun. And that guy was a professional wrestler.
Isn't every big guy in shows now?
Yeah, a lot of them.
Maybe we should just start do wrestling. Oh, we'd have to work.
We'd have to work out. The heaviest thing I lift all day is my phone.
I lift a controller sometimes.
Right. Well, my phone is a controller some days. So, but anyway, man, we are nerding out hardcore today.
Big time nerded out this rant.
But I stumbled across a story that I got to talk about. Like, this is average rants, and this is a rant for me. And you know, we're all tired of COVID, and everybody's had it with COVID. But there are people who claim that the COVID-19 vaccine made their bodies magnetic. Just gonna let that sink in a little bit. So basically, it kind of goes in with the Marvel thing. It's giving us superpowers, apparently.
I would love to become magnetic.
Now, you've seen the Ripley's, believe it or not, right? That people can make metal objects stick to themselves. Mm-hmm. This isn't an uncommon thing, but these people claim that where they were given the injection, shortly after they were given the injection, they could stick a magnet to where the injection was given, and the magnet would stick, which gave rise to the belief that the vaccine was full of metals and stuff like that makes it stick. Now, I read the entire story, and they debunked it almost immediately. But
well, I can debunk it right now. Got my keys.
They don't
Here's
stick.
Where I got the shot, and my keys hit the floor.
One of they went through, and a college professor is like, okay, first of all, in order for enough metal to be injected under your skin, in order for a magnet to stick to it, would require more metal than the COVID-19 injection needle holds. Not to mention the large lump that would probably appear in your arm.
It'd be really hard to
and painful.
It'd be very painful.
But they have been, since they've been giving immunizations and vaccines, there has been a slight amount of aluminum something or other, some type of aluminum variant injected in with it. It helps the immune response. But aluminum is not magnetic.
I think it's that the dumb thing with technology that we have nowadays is, and I mean, we get that with our political things too right now, is you get information before the information is even.
Let me make this very clear. Stop getting your information from YouTube and Facebook. Okay? You are going to be very disappointed, and most often or not,
well, I mean,
you're probably going to be proven pretty wrong.
Even when it comes to the news is so competitive nowadays that they start talking about what's going on before they've actually got all their information.
Yeah.
And like I remember my parents watching the news when I was a kid, and they would literally be like, okay, they're talking about, say, this bill. This bill is possibly going to be passed. We'll have more for you at 6:00 tonight after we've got everything. Right. Now they're like, so it seems like they're going to pass the bill. We're not quite sure, but it looks like 89% of it is going to go through.
It's all a ratings thing, and it's really stupid. But so I got the story up here, and so the professor says it'll take about 1 gram of iron in order for a magnet to stick to you.
Mm-hmm.
About a gram. It is impossible to do this with a COVID vaccine because the COVID vaccine doses are 0.3 to 0.5 milliliters in volume. The problem with the iron thing, with people making that, is that 1 gram equals 1 milliliter. So literally there is not enough volume in the shot itself to make this work. Not like I said, like trying to get metal to come out that tiny little syringe and I'm not telling anybody to go out and get vaccinated. You should, but you don't have to. I would never force anybody to do something they didn't want to.
Well, I mean, we've kind of talked about that before, and I mean, people will vaccinate their cows, but they won't vaccinate their children.
Right.
And I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't know if a vaccination is going to actually help me or not.
It didn't hurt you, did it? My arm hurt a little bit for a few days, but
I mean, I'm one of those people. I'm like, well, it ain't gonna hurt me either. So
And I'm not hurting you.
yeah,
That's just it. Like, I got vaccinated and I'm not hurting you. Leave me alone. Like, well, you're a sheep. But now they can track you. But let's still bump that myth right now.
okay. We talked about this, and if you're lost in the woods, you want to be tracked.
That's very true.
And-
But if the government wants to track you, they aren't going to spend billions upon billions of their money, which is what they're doing with the vaccine. Because if you go to get vaccinated for COVID, it costs you nothing. $0 to get vaccinated, right? So they spent trillions of dollars. They've literally spent trillions of dollars because of this COVID. Because first of all, they're giving everyone free money because we're all broke and unemployed. Some of us are. So they're like, here's $1,400. That'll get you to that 6 months, right? You'll be all right. But if they wanted to track you, I would just like to point out.
You're pointing out on
YouTube. But you're walking around with a mobile tracking device in your pocket.
Huge tracking device.
Like, yeah, this isn't new information.
Maybe I'm weird, but I would give 2 flips if the government was watching me shower. I don't care.
Barry's at the hockey rink again.
Yeah.
He spends a lot of time at the hockey rink.
Yeah, or it'd be like, he's just sitting there playing video games.
He never leaves his desk. Like, you could turn on his webcam, and he's just sitting there. Wow. He's put in 500 hours a while in the last 3 weeks.
I mean, well, and let's be realistic here. If they were watching people and doing that kind of stuff and tracking them, you'd see way more arrests in Montana.
They got better things to do.
Right? It's
but it is a well-known, and it's a fact. They have been listening to your phone calls since the 70s.
Oh yeah, but it's like
But they pick up words, right? They pick up triggers. And nothing's changed.
But I mean, that doesn't bother me because that kind of stuff I feel like needs to be done when you have such a large country.
It brings me to that Meet the Fockers thing, or was it not Meet the Parents, where he's on the airplane and they're like, you can't say bomb on an airplane. He's like, bomb, 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 bomb. Like, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna say bomb on an airplane. It was just, but the government. I don't understand why the government spent trillions put themselves in debt even more to create the COVID-19 virus. It's not a hoax.
Yeah, I mean, viruses and stuff. Like, look at the Black Plague. I mean,
well, they thought God was angry, and
well, I know, but I mean, at that time, like, we've cured that, but it did pop up a little bit again. And they got rid of it, but it's something that literally like wiped out
a third of the population,
and nobody wanted that.
They're like, all it takes is one little prick of a needle, and I'm good to go.
We literally live on a planet that has so many unexplained things still. Like, we still haven't explored most of our oceans. So.
Right. We know more about our own moon than we do about the bottoms of our oceans.
And believe in climate change or not.
Did you see that the world's largest iceberg just broke off of Antarctica?
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
it's huge.
Believe it or not, something is causing the northern and southern poles to melt a little bit more. And who knows what's hidden within all that ice.
But you know what my favorite conspiracy was? That was coming up was like 2012. Like, the poles are in reverse. And everybody was freaking out about that. Yeah. The poles, newsflash people, the poles flip all the time. Like, in the Earth's infinite lifetime, and it's 7 billion year lifetime, they flip a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst that could happen? We can float away. No.
We're already floating.
Magnetism doesn't mean doesn't hold you down. Gravity does. The only thing that would change is your compass points in the wrong direction. Instead of pointing north, it would point south.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
And
did we get fact checked?
No, I do want to point out to people, we're not trying to ever change somebody's opinion.
No.
We're just talking and ranting.
Really?
Our personal opinions.
Our motto is
we don't know.
We don't know. We can rant about anything. Why? Because we don't know.
We're not professionals. We're not going to look into anything. We're just going to talk kind of like.
Oh, 2 times in one day. Do you dare put this one on the radio? What was that flash?
I don't know. KFC.
Let's see how this goes. We got another phone call.
It's 420, and the only thing that holds you down is the man. That's right. The what, sir? It was that guy again.
Oh,
He's becoming a regular.
a regular. We like it. Well, we're not being nerdy enough there.
No. He said it's 420, and the only thing that holds you down is the man.
That is right. And your own laziness. If you're sitting on your couch and you're like, "Oh, the government's keeping me down,"
It is actually 420.
it is.
Yeah.
You know what he does in his basement now.
You know what?
Each their own.
Yep. Where I'm from, it's legal.
Well,
it
yeah,
is
it is legal here.
now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, you just put. I mean, Canada, you can. What is it? I think you're allowed to have like a pound or something.
For personal use.
Yeah.
Let's face it. Have you ever met an angry pothead? Like a dude that is just so high, he's just gonna go kill the world? No. The only thing they're gonna raid is the snack bin.
Now, if you tell them they can't have snacks,
Oh.
they're just probably
Well,
going
and
to bed.
in the long time argument, here's the long time argument. It's like, how do you test for marijuana? I'm like, I got the perfect test. Works easy. The cop walks up to the window of the car, and he holds up a Mountain Dew and a Snicker bar. And you wait for the reaction of, oh, I'm so hungry and thirsty. Busted. Like,
Isn't there a video of that happening where the cop comes up just like, hey, how's it going? Just holding a Snickers bar to see
if there is, I would love to see it. But I came up with that. I'm like, because they were talking about like it's just so expensive to test for marijuana and it's difficult to do a breathalyzer. I'm like, you don't have to. You just hold up a Mountain Dew and a Snicker bar and just wait for a reaction. Now that wouldn't work so well on me even if I was high because I'm not a huge fan of Mountain Dew, but the Snicker bar might get me. Like hungry, why wait? I mean, it's food. I like food.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the problem with it, right?
I mean, if you wanted to replace anyone, you could throw a bag of Doritos up because that would work too.
Well, because like if a cop showed up and pulled me over and had a Snickers and a Mountain Dew and was like, hey, do you realize why I pulled you over? I would just reach and be like, no.
No.
And just start eating them. Like, why would I turn that down?
Right.
And then you'd be like, oh,
but that's not the response they're looking for because you know everybody's like, oh
yeah, they just
like you just made their day. Yeah, you just made their day. Like because I've got several friends and I've known several people over the years who have partaken in it. And let's face it, when you're on that stuff, you can only basically do one thing at a time. And that's not knocking anybody, but I'm just like, snack time is the best time. And you're just like, oh man, Mountain Dew, yeah. I used to drink Mountain Dew like it was going on, but it just kills my stomach and teeth.
Yeah.
So bad I can't drink it anymore.
Well, should we throw on some music here again? Because we've been ranting a while.
So your lady friend that were your gamer friend here, she's like they hold Doritos in front of dogs we suspect that have ingested pot. So are you waiting for?
My dog would eat any Dorito you put in front of
and the bag.
Yeah.
I mean, I helped you move the couch yesterday. She ingested most of that too.
Yes, she did.
Like the staples had to hurt.
We gave her a chew toy, like one that we usually play tug of war with, and I might have let her hold on it for a while, and that's been eaten now.
So apparently it's a urine test for dogs. Well, just like any person, I guess. If a dog consumed large amounts of pot, I'm pretty sure it had the same effect it has on people. They just become really fat and lazy.
Hey, my dog has not ingested marijuana.
Maybe that's how you calm that thing down.
Oh, maybe that one. That one's skinny, but I was talking about.
Oh, the pudgy one?
Yeah. Zelda the fat Jack Russell.
She's so big.
She's a little tubby.
Like I'm supposed to be able to put my hands around her. Nope.
You used to be able to.
She's a basketball.
Yeah.
She's rather round.
She's cute though.
She is.
All right, let's get some music going here.
For those that are listening. But dogs, yes, I trained my first dog to sit with marshmallows. Like you bring out like until the day we had to put her down because she couldn't walk on her own because she just gotten so old. And her hips were so bad. You hold up a marshmallow, she'd immediately sit. Like, you didn't have to say anything because that's how we trained her to sit and stay and fetch that way. So she loved marshmallows. What do you got?
That's
The Ramones.
That guy, he literally, he called, and I think he thinks my name is Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Yeah, because he's like, it's 420, and it's the man that brings you down. See you, Dave.
Well, you know, it's good to know we hold Dave up around here. Dave's getting all the credit.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, and probably like nobody else would be here on a Sunday.
Right. Who else would waste 2 hours of their Sundays to be here? So
Just us.
So I think DC might actually have a decent movie coming out.
Oh, what is it?
The Black Adam. And I think it
I
might
heard
do
about
well
it.
because
Isn't it?
Dwayne Johnson is going to be, and you're going to
Yes.
You're going to have to watch this because your wife is a huge rock fan, right?
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that and her be like, I really like watching this, but what is this? Who is this guy? Tell me more about this character.
Tell it. I don't know anything about Black Adam. I'm not going to lie.
So Black Adam is the bad guy to Shazam.
But he's also a hero, though.
I think he's just a bad guy. If I'm thinking of the right person. Yeah, no, he's a bad guy. 100% bad guy.
So Dwayne Johnson is going to play a bad guy.
Yeah, because he's the guy. If I remember correctly, he gets Shazam's powers, and he's a bad guy, and that's how they fight each other. And that's why right? Because you can't. Shazam has to let his powers kind of be secretive a little bit, because if you find out who he is, you know how to take a power away. Because it's
I gotta go watch Shazam again.
Yeah, it's magical.
Well, Shazam is an interesting character because he's a kid with superpowers.
Yes, because he passed the test of purity.
Yeah.
Well, that's why nobody else could do it, because everybody else was so evil.
Right.
But then this one kid gets it because he's just so innocent.
Well, there's the innocence, yes.
And then that's when I wonder, why didn't they just bring up a baby? Be like, they get the power because they're innocent.
But Shazam, and then this is based on my limited knowledge of Shazam, as I've only seen the live action movie, the new one. But he can pass his powers between his brothers and sisters. He does it.
That's not brothers and sisters. He just.
But they're adopted family.
They're just his friends.
Well, I thought they were his adopted, but in the movie they were his adopted family.
Okay.
Yeah. They all become adults. They're all kids, well, except for the one sister who's also kind of an adult. But they all get one part of his, like, he as a whole has all of their powers, but they get a piece. Like one kid gets super speed, one kid gets the super strength, one's super smart.
See, so like Shazam, because his strength comes from magic, he can actually injure Superman.
That would be cool if they ever met. Actually, they did in the movie, didn't they? Like, well, they didn't show him, but they kind of showed his arm a little bit there. Because he's like, I knew Superman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because he's also, if you watch the cartoons.
Well, what are they going to do? And this is what bothers me with DC. They recast Superman again. It's not Henry Cavill anymore. And then they've recast the Batman again. Now it's that kid from the Twilight movies.
Oh, sparkly Batman.
Yeah, if Batman looks like a disco ball, we're, oh, you're good. It's the money.
Mm-hmm.
Like Shazam was an okay movie. I didn't have anything against it.
I enjoyed Shazam. It was very cutie.
It's a fun kids movie. Like the Marvel, and DC's gonna have to live with this fact. I think DC's just gonna have to stop competing with Marvel and accept what they are. They're not gonna compete with Marvel. They can't.
Not at this point, because Marvel's made so much money now.
I don't care what you are, who you are. Everybody watched the last two Avengers movies. And when Captain America picked up Thor's hammer, you went, oh my God, that is sweet. And the way Marvel did it, pulling from their old movies, like Captain America literally almost picked up Thor's hammer like 5 movies ago when they were messing around in the penthouse, and Cap grabs a hammer and you've seen it. It shook. Like it moved a little bit, right? You're like, you didn't know that they were hinting at that until way later on.
Yeah.
The way they pull from
Just
movies.
shows that he's changed.
Well, then he's worthy. Like,
well, he wasn't worthy then, but he became worthy.
And there is the fan theory out there. Could have Cap actually picked it up and he just didn't?
No.
You know, and that's funny because they're having that whole argument in the elevator with Stark and I can't remember who it was, but they're like, in an elevator, is the elevator worthy? Because the elevator goes up and down.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because he's
yeah. So is the elevator worthy? I can't wait to see Love and Thunder. Like they took Thor. The original Thor movie was one of my least favorite Marvel movies when it came out because Thor was just really boring. Like they didn't let him have any person. I'm a brute. I break things. Whatever. And then the second Thor movie came out, and they made him funny, and he was just fun.
Yeah.
They gave him like in the opening sequence where he's doing circles in the chains. Like
he's more like a Viking, like a drunk Viking, and that's the way he should.
Hemsworth is a lot of fun. Like, I'm not even doing this on purpose. It's just happening, and he's spitting.
Well, people were mad at the
Fat Thor.
The Fat Thor. I thought it was perfect.
I thought that
it was like
the best part is they didn't make him skinny again when he took on Thor in the Infinity War. I think he would have beat Thanos on his own.
Yeah.
If he was in shape. That's great.
Well, there's the money.
Oh, I broke the headset.
Good job.
Good job.
Well, and there was Monet. I hope everyone is enjoying the, I guess the kind of like a throwback almost a little bit for sports music.
Well,
you still hear these now.
You brought it up a week ago, like the songs that you hear in sports songs, like you don't hear a lot of new ones. Like the ones that have been around are around. Why? Because they're fantastic songs. And I've got to be all right. I got a legit beef still, and it's still with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like how like this is nothing against the Foo Fighters, but the Foo Fighters are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? How is Iron Maiden not?
You just really want Iron Maiden to be in there.
They're one of the most influential bands ever. Like they literally helped influence an entire genre of music that Foo Fighters wouldn't even exist without.
Well, they might have just been called the Fighters.
Like and Dave Grohl, the founder of the Foo Fighters, was a singer for Nirvana, was the drummer for Nirvana, who became a band because that was the music they listened to, but they started forming their own genre of music.
I've heard Iron Maiden. I mean, you'd have to play a couple songs. I'd be like, oh yeah, I've heard that one. But I don't know enough about them. And Derek, just for you, I would fight for them to get in the Rock and Roll.
I think it's just like they're not in, and it's for somebody for a band that's been around as long as they have and who literally influenced the music the way they have. Some of the bands that are in, like U2 is in, right? Like I'm not the biggest U2 fan.
I don't know. Maybe they asked them and they were just like, no, we're not part of the system.
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do, and Metallica for the longest time was a snub, but they had to let them in at some point. Mm-hmm. They got in. But I think it's just because of the genre of music. Like they call it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but
they're letting rap music in now.
They're opening it up a bit.
Which it makes sense because there is no Rap Hall of Fame or
no.
Right?
But there is a Country Music Hall of Fame, so some people are in both of those.
Yeah, they should be. Country music is amazing.
I do like some country music. The modern stuff is a little rough. We'll do a country music one day, but we're also going to do a Disney theme, so we'll spring that on you guys one of these days.
Yeah, I'm not even going to let them know. It's just going to happen. Then I feel like what we should do when we do the Disney theme one is each little intermission, we should talk about what was wrong and right with the movie. So we're like, well, in Finding Nemo,
what was the battle in this movie? Was he really trying to find his dad or his son? Or
did you notice that there was some racism?
That depends on the movie we're talking about.
So we move on.
But that's I have a legit legit beef there, and it's like,
Well, send a letter.
I should.
They might get that one. Maybe they're waiting for one more letter.
Well,
Let's let 'em in.
why isn't Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame for baseball?
You like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No, he's not in baseball's Hall of Fame, and Pete Rose holds the hitting record. He has more hits than anybody in Major League Baseball history. He's by far and away one of the best players at his position. The only reason that he isn't in is because the commissioner of baseball hates him. He bet on baseball, but he never bet on his own team. But there are guys who legit cheated, took steroids, and are in the Hall of Fame. Now, I will give this to and I'm probably going to get flack for this, but up until recently, the last 10, 15 years, it wasn't illegal to juice in baseball. It was frowned upon, but everybody did it. Go look at Pete Rose's records.
He literally is not in there because in '91, the Baseball Hall of Fame formally voted to ban those on the preliminary ineligibility list for people that had broke any player agreement. So after the thing is he actually denied it for years. He said he'd never bet on anything, and then in 2004 he admitted that he did bet on baseball.
He never bet on his.
And he said and on the Reds.
Yeah.
So he said that he did vote. Bet on his own team if he played for.
But he never bet against them, so he wasn't throwing games.
Yeah.
He bet for them to win.
It's supposed to be because you think that they're throwing games you can't.
But he didn't throw it. He bet on his own team to win. Wouldn't you?
Let me ask you this one thing though. Why does a baseball player need to bet on games?
Well, like anybody else, he was a gambling addict.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So he has his vices, right? But if you're going to be a college hockey player this week, and I bet this year, sorry, well, you're a college hockey player.
I'm not ready yet, Derek.
I know. I've seen the large amounts of candy.
Oh no, that's prepping the weight.
Oh, so you can throw it around. But if I bet you $10, your team wasn't going to win, would you take that bet?
I don't gamble.
You don't gamble.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you a candy bar.
Oh.
A Mars bar. I will go online and get a Mars bar that your team wouldn't win. You're like, I'll take that bet. It's your team.
I've been on kind of dumb things like that. I would just never bet. I'm not.
Oh, you told me all the stories about, hey, I'll jump up there for $5.
Okay, that was to get money so I could get on the bus to go to my sport event. That's
right.
A little different.
Right. But if I told, but still, like he didn't go out and go, no, I'm gonna manage this game and I'm gonna bet against us because I know how we're playing and I'm gonna throw our worst pitcher that we have against this team. It would just make it bad. He didn't do that.
Well, I mean, the only thing that, and I'm just gonna play devil's advocate a little bit here, is how do they know that he did vote on him besides his word? Would they be able to check to see his previous bets? Because I don't think they can.
I don't know.
Right. So really, we have to go on his word.
But I think when the years that he was managing, they were competing for championships.
I just don't know. That's why I kind of devil advocate.
Like the fact that they're holding him out because he was betting on baseball, and baseball's got so many things that just drive me crazy about it.
Like an extremely long season.
162 games.
That is too much.
Well, you look at it and see it as an extremely long season. The season itself isn't any longer than the hockey season. They just play more games.
But that's too much.
And
especially because their games are like 6 hours long.
They do get a little long-winded, don't they? But think about, we're excited because the hockey playoffs just started, right? Mm-hmm. 7-game series. They just finished a 52-game season, which is actually only a third of their usual season.
Yeah.
They usually play an 82-game season with a 7-game playoffs. Mm-hmm. They actually play like another 40 games in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you're looking at actually 120 game
Are
season.
you counting the World Series though? Because don't they do the same thing?
They do
Best
in
of
baseball.
seven?
So in baseball, the team that wins the World Series, if they go, well, they don't have a full 7 game series. They have a one. There is a 1 game play in for a wild card team, and then they have like a best of 3,
I know it's a best of something.
and then they have but then they do go to best of 7s. The World Series is best of 7. I'm not the biggest baseball guy, but they play a ton of games. But hockey, the team who wins the Stanley Cup is probably going to play well over 100 games a year.
But everybody likes hockey.
Oh yeah.
I enjoy watching.
Yeah, I enjoy.
I've watched so much hockey this past week, like to the point that when I was playing games online, people were like, "Why aren't you talking?" I'm like, "What? Oh, sorry, I have the game on."
I know we were supposed to be playing a little bit of D&D the other night, and I could hear the game on your phone. Even your own wife's like, "You don't need to hear it, Barry. You can see it."
I turned it down so I could still hear it, but you guys couldn't.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
You don't know because I can still hear it.
You didn't say anything.
Because what would it change?
I would put the volume even lower.
I probably would have shut the volume off.
And that volume, I was watching it on my other monitor.
Right.
You want another song here?
No, I just.
It's Metallica. You were just talking about that.
Yeah, they're in. I mean, I like Metallica. I've liked Metallica since I was younger. But
Let's do it. Let's throw on some Metallica. We've talked so much this rant that we haven't even got through your small playlist yet.
I know, and it's rather short. Some
Yeah.
of the songs are rather short.
Yeah. Let's throw it on. We'll get to Enter the Sandman going here with Metallica.
And for those that are listening live on the YouTube, then they can continue to hear us jabber.
Yeah,
on.
we'll jabber on something. All right, here's Enter the Sandman.
I mean, I have a legit beef with the hockey game this weekend. This week with John Tavares. Like the fight that ensued after that was completely stupid.
We're not on the ice. We don't know what happened. I'm just
Even
okay. If I was playing, all right, and I'm playing a game of hockey, and our best player gets smoked, and I only catch a gleam of it.
But you can't tell me that because that took place well after the play, right?
Well, and the thing is, you watch the video of the fight, you see the two of them talking, and it was Perry that was shaking his gloves off before the other guy was.
Because the other guy was talking smack.
Of course he was good at it. I talk smack 24/7.
You can't tell me that they're not Perry, but the Toronto teammates didn't go, dude, that was not intentional. Because you watched the Panthers game, right? The Panthers Tampa game. That was the fact that there was no gloves dropped after that.
Oh yeah, there were so many intentional ones on that one.
But in the Toronto game, he tried to leap out of the way, and in fact, doing so, he probably saved that other guy
the
from
other thing
leak.
too is what a lot of people are putting into consideration is that Perry every year. Every playoff he has been in has injured one of the star players on the opposing team.
Yeah, and this time he was legit trying to get out of the way.
I mean, I would sit there and be like, did he act like he was trying to get out of the way? Or because if you watch it, he was far enough away to see that Tavares was falling, but never changed his course towards him as he was falling.
But he changed the way his body was moving. Like he tried to turn.
I'm a hockey player. I can dodge people at the last second pretty easy.
You don't go as fast as they do.
He was just starting out from his zone.
That bothered me. I mean, I get it that fighting and all that stuff is a thing in hockey, but there were way worse things that happened in that game to drop gloves over than that.
He was getting a little chippy at the end of the last game.
Well, and I watched Toronto's game the other day. Yesterday, they literally like. They weren't messing around. I don't know what changed. Like,
they were mad.
If they could play like that every game, they'd be unbeatable.
I hope so, but it's not going to happen.
So, you watched the Senators Tampa game though, right? Did you see some of the goals? Like
the Panthers?
Bobrovsky, like by far and away, Bobrovsky's got to be. He's going to be in contention for the Vezina Trophy again for a reason. The goals that were scored on him, he had no shot. His defense were just leaving him out to dry. It was
the Panthers were playing like garbage.
Oh, yeah. and I get like I don't ever want to see a team go out and injure a player who's owning you, because let's face it, they Tampa Bay were owning Florida because of one guy.
Yeah.
And and their guy with 3 minutes left in the game.
Well, this is like a problem that I have with the NHL playoffs. Is the refs are so afraid to call penalties that it causes more. Like if you look at injuries throughout the year and injuries throughout every playoff, I bet you they're close. Like there's got to be about an injury or two every game during the playoffs. Some of them are minor where they're just gone for like a little bit of that, like a shift or two. But it's because the refs literally go, I don't want to get killed. Well, it's like soccer. If a ref does a bad call in soccer in is it the World Cup?
Yep.
It's the World Cup. I guarantee you that they'll get murdered.
Well, they're in
Well,
countries with far fewer
but
laws.
I put money on them being murdered.
Right.
I don't actually want to gamble.
What you guys did to Carey Price yesterday just wasn't nice.
What did we do?
Lit him up like a lamp.
Good. Fuck them.
Because even you will admit, you're like, oh, fucking Carey Price. Like, top 5 goalie in the league?
They needed to knock him down a peg, or otherwise he'll start doing too good.
And Andrei Vasilevsky would be the only goaltender that I can think of right now who's playing better than him.
But, I mean, he was still playing really good. His team just...
Well, the crazy thing about the Tampa-Florida game was Florida was out shooting Tampa. Tampa was up 2-0 with 2 shots.
And that
They got
changed.
2 goals.
Yeah, you messaged me that, and by the time I actually checked, I was like, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah, but it was 2-0 with 2 shots. It was crazy. And I think Florida at the time had like 19 shots on net.
Yeah.
And one of the goals, I don't know if you saw the Tampa goal, the second goal, the shot was 1.5 feet, 2 feet wide of the net, and dude redirected it back into the net. It was crazy.
Well, when I was practicing with Dexter, we were practicing deflections.
We don't do a lot of that up here. You don't see that much.
No. And we're defensemen, and we were practicing deflection. Because I was like, we need to get used to these, because we have to try to keep them in.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny, because I was like, just throw whatever you got at me, man. And I was like, we had 4 pucks, and I'd say 3 out of 4, I was always tipping them, no matter what he was doing, as long as they weren't like straight out my chest or something.
Well, you look at some of the leading, everybody likes that crazy breakaway, deke the goalie. Let's face it, 90% of goals in the NHL or in any hockey game, for that matter, are scored off deflections.
Or a rebound.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see too many goals that are just straight in anymore.
If you go one-on-one with a goal, let's use example here. Let's just go Andrei Vasilevsky. He's probably going to win the Vezina Trophy, which is the best goaltender in the league. You go one-on-one, him versus the best shooter in the league, you're probably 50-50.
I would actually put it more on the goalie. If a goalie is good, I would say 90% of the time he should stop a one-on-one.
They have,
and that's like shootout style. In a game, the big thing that happens is the atmosphere changes how you.
And that's coming from you that the goalie should win most of the time, which is why they've contemplated changing the rules, making the goal bigger. But I
don't think they should.
No.
Because the problem, it's going to be.
But you look at a lot of the goals that are being scored now. I mean, the tips are nuts. The tip-ins and the redirects.
They're cool.
Oh, they are. And
I don't want to see I hate seeing 6-2.
Yeah.
On a score. 4 isn't bad as long as it's close, but like the Toronto one, I was watching it, but only half watching it once they got 3-1.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in watching it until it becomes 2-3.
I was always thought about it what if when the score was tied, they just dropped the score back down to zeros? Keep the goals on stats. Just put the scoreboard back at zeros.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
That should be something we pitch to young kids.
Yeah, it's tied 0-0.
Yeah.
But you should always play like it's a nothing game.
Yep.
Like if you're down 11-1, it's still a nothing game.
Oh man.
So that's just kind of my thought. I like, especially in kids sports. Like if you're under the age of 10 or 12 or 13 years old, you shouldn't care about the score anyway. You all right there?
I had like a stretch, and then when I stretched, it made my body relax. And
Winning is great and all, but I think,
youth shouldn't care about winning. They should care about having fun.
But care about building your skill. Care about getting better. Like on my way here, I seen.
It's your kids' days.
Nice.
The music.
My kids are awesome. My
That was me.
I completely lost my train of thought. Oh, I was on my way to work or on my way here, and it's raining outside. It's cold. It's like 40 degrees and raining. There are two kids. They got this wooden, totally home built wooden skateboard ramp, and they're going up and down their driveway trying to ollie and do jumps. Like if you're under the age of 14, 15 years old, you shouldn't be concentrating on winning the game, making yourself better, make yourself a better teammate.
Yeah, I think that Havre has a big problem with making kids
individuals.
Yeah, making them team players and understanding that it's a team sport, because even the coaches do it. I've seen.
Could Wayne Gretzky be the GOAT without his team?
No, there's no way that Wayne. If you take away all the players on your team, nobody's good enough.
And the great one holds the record for most goals, okay? But he also holds the record for most assists. He was an unselfish hockey player.
Yeah.
And he's like, the reason I played the way I did because I was too small. If I didn't play behind the net, I was going to get killed.
Mm-hmm. I just remember, like, when I was in, I think if I'm remembering this right, it was Bantam. And we went into another song. We're doing 3.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, that's good too.
But I remember our coach would keep, because we didn't have the electronic keep track, so our coach would have all the score sheets and then ask us if we wanted to know, like, goals, assists, and points.
Right.
And I still remember the one year when they came in and they said, they said goals was David Kasherba, which was one of my buddies on my line.
Mm-hmm.
Assists was me, so I had the most assists on the team. And then it said most points, and it was me again. I was like, damn right, because just because I get assists doesn't mean that I don't get goals.
My daughter's 8. She'll be 8 in September, but we were leaving hockey game. I think she was at a game, and she's like, I didn't get any goals, Dad. I'm like, but did you know, a fun fact is that goals it's okay not to score a goal. She did get like 2 assists. It's like in hockey, they count for as many points as goals do.
No.
For those of you who don't know, players get points for goals and assists. A goal is worth 1 point, and assist is also worth a point. But unlike, say, basketball, where the person who gets the assist is the guy who passes, the guy who scores, assists go back 2 in hockey. 2 players.
All right, we're back having a little rant about how kids should be having fun in sports rather than worrying about winning.
Having fun and improving their skills themselves. Like I said, I seen on my way here, I seen 2 kids out in the rain practicing on the skateboard.
Yeah, well, I think the problem that we run into, and I mean, I've seen here in Havre, love hockey and everything, but places care, and this is across like almost anywhere I've been. I've seen this. It's not just here, but it is. People look at winning a championship, and I don't think they want the kids to win it. I think they want the kids to win it for them.
Right.
And I get an outsider's kind of view. Bonus is I don't have any really affiliation with hockey here besides me just loving hockey and being a hockey player my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So when I come here, I just want to grow a program and see a program grow. And I think the other thing that's hard is everybody else kind of has that more commitment into, I guess not commitment, but more, their feet are more into it than mine have been. And they want to see it succeed, and their measure of success is based on the number of banners that is in the rink. And I just don't believe that.
A successful program shouldn't be based on number of championships. A successful program should consist of kids growing as individuals and as athletes. They teach them to work as a team.
Like, I mean, for me, the best thing that's happened to me since I was coaching is I now have kids that I coached that are coaching because they want to give back. I have kids that now still talk to me about when I was a coach, and then are now becoming more of like a friend.
Right.
And I mean, it's always going to be, at least until they're like an older age, but that's kind of what I looked for when I was coaching. Is I wanted to make sure that they knew it's supposed to be like a family. Almost every team I played on, it was like a family where we cared about each other, we stuck up for each other. If one of your teammates was getting bullied at school, then the team would come and beat the crap out of the guy that was bullying them.
Right.
And I think that atmosphere is kind of gone. I know I talked to a buddy of mine back in Ontario, Canada there, and he coaches Bantam. And he was telling me that it's changed there too, right? So it's not just here that kind of stuff is happening, but it is back where I'm from, the same kind of problems are coming up.
We need to start, well, and I coached your daughter this year and my daughter, but I don't coach my daughter on the ice. Like, if she, like, for those of you who don't know how hockey, if you guys came up to an 8U practice, you would look at it and be like, what is going on? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I know what's going on, and I still don't know.
Like, it's like trying to corral kids between the ages of 4 and 8. It's just nuts. We have separate drills set out in different areas of the ice, and I see parents who get so upset because their kids aren't doing the drill properly. And I'm like, your kid's 6 years old.
Yeah.
Is your kid smiling? That's all that counts, right? That's like hockey for me is so much fun, and I'm new to the sport the last 4 or 5 years, and it is so much fun. But I'm not gonna lie, by the time March rolls around, I'm tired.
Oh yeah.
Like, hockey is a huge commitment. We start in October and we go till March. Taking your kid to practice 3 days a week, well, 2 practices in a game.
Well,
Not counting the tournaments.
You were playing, and you were also practicing yourself.
Right. We do the adult. I do help do the adult league, which is a lot of fun. I enjoy that, but it's exhausting. So if the game stops being fun, and you just focus on winning instead of, like, the funnest thing that I ever seen is like watching the little 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds score an open net, and they throw their hands in the air and they're going bananas, and you're like, yes. You celebrate every goal, regardless of if there is a goalie or not, because it could, you just never know.
Like, I played hockey since I was 4. I mean, I've been preparing for it since I was in the womb.
You came out with Bauer skates on.
But I literally think back to every moment that when people say, like, hey, what's your favorite hockey memory? Or what do you remember most? Like, I did this when I was coaching. Kids would ask me. And I can remember winning games, but those aren't the things that I enjoyed the most. It was, the hotels with my teammates and the stupid things you get into, the banter that you get on the ice, the friends that you would make on other teams, and then you'd be playing with them at like a national level. And then, just things you did on the ice. Like, I still remember hitting a kid over the boards into his bench, and the ref coming over to me after blowing the whistle right away. And he looked at me and was like, oh man, I don't know, roughing.
It was clean, but you killed the
he
poor
had to
guy.
give me something because I threw him over the boards. Right. And I did. I picked him up and I threw him over the boards. But like, those are the kind of memories that will always stay with me. And like Josh Campbell, the kid that I passed it to 500 times in the game, and he'd get 2 of them in the net. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I still passed to him. 498 times.
This year, one of my happiest moments, it was coaching, helping you. You did more coaching than I did in the adult league because you know more about it. But we were getting towards the end of one of our 1 o'clock practices, and we always ask, the last 5-10 minutes, you guys can work on whatever you want or ask questions. And my wife's like, I want to learn how to do a crossover. Mm-hmm. And so I showed her the simple step over your foot. We teach this to little kids. It's simple. You walk sideways. You just take one foot, step over the other. You do the same thing in skates. And she's like, I can do that. And she started walking side to side. I'm like, now skate forward 4 steps and do the same thing. And she did it. And she looked at me and lit up like, I just crossed over. I'm like, yes, you did. And I see the little, and adults are no different than kids. Yeah. Kids and adults are exactly the same when they get out there and have fun. I did freeze tag with adults this year. Probably one of the most fun drills I've ever seen. You were so tired.
Well, it's because I was the only one in.
And you still got everybody, didn't you?
I got most of them. That was tough. That was a lot.
But you see the parents like, we're going to play freeze tag, and then they start playing, and the kid comes out.
Yeah. Well, that's what it should be. I know we're running a
little long.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's not like anything else coming. But that's like I really enjoy coaching the adults. I really enjoy coaching the high school team, and maybe one day I'll coach something like that again. But for now, I focus on the adults, and it was because
for you this year, what was your coaching moment where you went, that is so cool to see something happen?
I coach systems. That is the main focus that I try to do. And I did that with the adults. And we worked, I know nobody's really going to know listening what this is, but it's called a 1-2-2 system. And that's where you get one forward goes in deep, the other 2 stay mid, and the other 2 are defense on the blue. And when we went to that tournament, and I was brought down because I wanted to play with my wife. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't even on the ice. And I watched team of misfits because it is when you're coaching like adult hockey, it kind of feels like
they look like 6-year-olds.
I felt like Gordon Bombay watching the original Mighty Ducks, and I was just sitting there on the bench watching everything. I'm like, is that what I think it is? And it felt like 5 minutes of that line not having to do a shift change because they weren't tired. The other team was so exhausted because they couldn't get it out of their zone. But the best part is I'm sitting there, I'm like, they're doing something that we've been working on. I don't know if they realize it's happening, but they're doing it. And I don't know if there was a goal scored on that one, but it started happening more consistently every game because people would be like, did you see? Mm-hmm. Did you see we were doing it? And those, I can't say the words, couldn't get it out of their zone.
Right.
And it was just seeing, they were happy, not about a goal. They were happy that they were learning something and able to accomplish it.
Like, yeah. Something that we've been working on. Like, we work on things in practice that people don't even realize happen in a game until they do it.
I think that's like, people always say that kids and adults were different because, we have to boss the kids around. But if you really like coaching, I coached high school and I've coached soccer 3-year-olds.
Sorry.
I enjoyed it.
Wrangling cats, man. I mean, that's rough.
But I mean, in the end, they're all taught. If you teach them the same way, it works the same way.
You have to make it fun. Both ways has to be fun. Like, you can get a little more serious with adults; they don't care as much, but you definitely get more response out of parent kid, whether it's a 30-year-old adult or a 6-year-old kid. If it's fun, like, you get the same response. So
we got Jerry Kuhn trying to tell me that it's past our time and he wants to get back to the regular
scheduled rating. Well, Mr. Kuhn, you're more than welcome to come down and run your own show.
Yeah, you can come down here and.
By the way,
how? Oh, I can't say.
Oh, we can't.
Because you're going to get in trouble at home.
Yeah, I thought of that.
I'll just do it this way, Mr. Kuhn. I hope you have been enjoying watching your hockey team in the playoffs. And we'll just leave it at that. All right. So this has been
Average Rants
here at KNMC 90.1. This is like a tongue twister for me. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. And don't be afraid to ask us some questions on our Facebook, and we will bring it up.
Hey, if you got any recommendations for songs, requests, we will do it.
Yeah, we'll do everything.
Themes. We kind of focus on themes, but
we're trying to figure it all out as we go. It'll get better. So the more info we get, the more.
Or just suggestions for anything to rant on.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, and we'll get you back to your regular scheduled program. Just remember that this music has been brought to you by Jerry Kewen because he wanted us to stop talking.
See you guys in a week.
I love the song that's on. Listen.